Yes, we can, sure we can change the world.
My name is Grace Alache Jerry, but you can always call me Gracie. I am from Nigeria, West Africa. I work as a disability rights advocate, and then I am also a singer-songwriter, a musician. And part of the work I do basically is to bring freshness, to advocacy. I also work as the director of an organization called Inclusive Friends, based in Jos Plateau State. And Inclusive Friends is an organization for persons with disabilities by persons with disability. And our work is to bring issues of disabilities to the forefront of development efforts in Nigeria. I represent a community of 25.5 million Nigerians with disability. That is a huge demographic of people who have suffered discrimination, marginalization, and exclusion from programs, from interventions, from policies, and from laws. The approach we are using now, Disabled Persons Organization and disability rights advocates and activists, the approach we are using now is not just to have the government pass the disability bill into law, but to execute a lot of actions. We want immediate interventions. We want to see actions. We want to see things change. We want to have an inclusive Nigeria where every architectural barrier is removed. That is one of the biggest challenges we face. It's a shift now from the charity approach to a rights-based approach. And persons with disability are saying we are capable to do this for ourselves if we are given the platform to. 2 persons with disabilities from Nigeria made it for Yali this year. We feel excited because we are being carried along. This program is inclusive of persons with disabilities, young African leaders who are active, in the area of disability. Our voice is one of the biggest tools that, God has given to us. And if only they can strengthen that voice and speak up confidently, speaking up for their rights, and speaking up for change. They have no limit. Like I said, nothing, it's a limitation to that person who is not afraid to speak up. So I would tell them to get up from whatever limitation they have placed themselves and see themselves as a tool to create change, a catalyst for change. Remember that persons with disabilities are persons first before their disabilities. And because they are persons, they have dreams, they have names, they have goals, they have emotions. They deserve the right to be supported, to be included, and to be given a platform so they can lead a normal and active or productive life.
Yes, we can, sure we can change the world.
In 2010, I had the opportunity to contest for the first ever Miss Wheelchair pageant in Africa, in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
And it's not like the regular pageant, of course, that we all know about, with the bikinis and all of that. But of course, we all had the evening gown, our traditional attire, we had makeup artists and all of that. But the intention of that pageant was to select a spokeswoman that would advocate for the rights of millions of Nigerians with disabilities. Go into the government, the legislation, go into every part of the country, basically protecting and promoting the rights of persons with disabilities and getting the government to the point where they can sign the disability bill. In 2002, I was involved in a road traffic accident, that almost claimed my life. And like I always say this, before it happened, I never befriended anybody with a disability. I didn't have a friend. I didn't have a family member. So I had no idea what a life of a person with disability is like. Like I never bothered, until it happened to me. I had to live my life all over again, getting used to first being a woman with disability, accessing my environment. Life became very, very challenging, I must tell you. And it was like, so this is a life of a person with disability. And then, we never care, we never bothered. And to be frank with you, people don't know. People don't care, so to say, So this birthed that advocacy part of me. Every opportunity I had back then, I was a very active choir member. And in fact, the accident even happened on my way back home from choir rehearsals. So any platform and opportunity I have to sing on stage, I quickly address the issues of access to buildings, access to transportation, access to toilets. Just people should design structures where someone like me can ride my wheelchair with ease. Someone that is visually impaired can move around with their cane and not stumble on a barrier or an obstacle. So that birthed the advocacy part of me, and I started using my platform for singing, for ministering, to advocate for the rights of people with disability until 2010 that I became the Miss Wheelchair Queen and the spokesperson for millions of Nigerians. So it gave me a bigger platform, a national platform to advocate here. I have faced death 2 times.
2 times?
On 2 different occasions.
Wow.
The first accident was in 2002 where I was knocked down by a drunk driver. It was a hit and run. Knocked me, and ran away. And right there on the spot, when people gathered, as far as they were concerned, she was dead, I was dead. And they put me in a trunk of someone's car, and the idea was, back in Nigeria, it's either they take you to the police station or they take you to the mortuary, and then they try to get in touch with your family. And they were deliberating on, okay, is it the police station first, is it the mortuary, that's the morgue? And then, luckily for me, I was with my elder brother when it happened, but my bike was ahead of his. So he said while he was approaching, he noticed that there was an accident scene and he stopped. And right there he noticed I was the one, in the trunk of the car. And they were like, no, she's dead. No. And my brother insisted she can't be dead. And the first thing he did was to check if there was any rhythm or any pulse here on my throat. And he said he noticed there was a very weak kind of faint pulse. And then he insisted she is alive. And that was how I was taken to the hospital. I was unconscious for like 2 weeks at stretch. And the doctors gave my family no hope. Every day they're like, she may not make it through today, she may not make it through today. And that was how we kept on till eventually I made it alive. But then being on admission for 3 months, having to lying on my back completely for 3 good months, and I had to be taught to be able to sit down again, to be taught to use the wheelchair, to be taught a lot of things. And my life I was in shock that this was happening to me, First of all, a believer, and secondly, a very vibrant and active, young lady. I was just at the prime, of my life, so to say. And that was it. The story went on from there. There were moments that I was really depressed to the point where my hair started falling off, like I had cancer. So depressed I was carrying it out on almost everyone around me, like it's your fault that I'm on a wheelchair, So I had to be isolated from people. It got to the point where I had to make up my mind for myself, like say, it's either I'm gonna allow this situation, this disability defeat me and I just die peacefully, or I was gonna be in charge and define what disability is and should be for my life. And that was immediately I got to that point. Of course, I wanted to leave, like I wasn't ready to die. And that was the turning point. Immediately I made up my mind. Everything changed. And then the second accident was in 2011. Also on my way.
From church?
This time around, not from church, but I was going
to church,
to minister in another city. I was going to church. I was invited as a guest to go minister in another city. And somewhere we had a head-on collision and the car busted into flames.
Wow.
And I was in this car screaming for someone to help get me out.
And your wheelchair was probably in the trunk.
Yeah, the wheelchair was in the trunk.
There
was no way to come out, you know. And I was with my cousin, and he was
A little disoriented because of the accident.
So he ran out to like get himself together, and then he remembered, oh, Grace is in the car. At that point, this car was already filled with smoke, and so he rushed. He quickly got me out of the car, just sat me by the roadside, and then I discovered my thighs were swollen, and it shocked me. Like, what happened? I realized that I had fractured both my thighs. One of my knees crushed, and the other thigh, completely broken.
Wow.
And I was the only one in this car that was affected,
Wow.
So I couldn't just understand. I was rushed from the scene straight to the hospital, straight to the theater. They had to do a surgery, put in, metal plates, screws to just hold my knees, hold my thigh, both legs. And I was in recovery for another 3 months, and I just couldn't understand at that point, like, what's happening, And at this point in time, like, I just couldn't, and, I tell people at that point, I just told God, I'm done. Like, you promised affliction will not arise a second time, but why is this happening? Like, I just don't understand. And that period, I didn't want to pray, I didn't want to praise, I didn't want to have anything to do with God. But He saw me through the process. The healing was fast, dramatic, everything happened in the process. And in the course of healing, He gave me songs. So I was just writing songs, I was just writing a lot of things, and at the end of the day, it produced an album that right now it's healing a lot of lives, restoring a lot of homes, and just so many miracles and testimonies that I get as a result of that moment where I had to be in recovery. But there are a lot of people walking with their features complete, but in their mind they are limited. And disabilities, it starts from the mind. That's what I tell people. I said, so forget that you see me on a wheelchair, forget that you see another fellow with a cane, or he's hearing impaired, or with polio, or it first starts here. So if you can tame your mind, if you can tell yourself that no situation or circumstance can hold me bound in this life, then you have crossed, the bounds of limitation. My approach is, first of all, music, theater, and art. It's a unique way where I get to tell stories of inclusion, of human rights, disability rights, and right to even water, sanitation, and hygiene, right to end gender-based violence, to end every form of violence on persons with disabilities, and to basically get people to understand why it is important to think about persons with disabilities in the everyday life, in all that you do. Think about a person with disabilities. What you do, how does it affect a person with disability? What you are not doing, how it has affected a person with disability. So the unique way we advocate is using music, theater, drama, and then the arts in general. So it's not even boring,
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you this. Most of those people you see on the streets begging for alms, they hate what they're doing. But it's like there is no other option. How do we feed if we don't get to the point where we get ourselves to the streets? We have documented stories. We have worked closely with these people. And we hear them saying, my life has been reduced to a life of a beggar. And most of these people that go out there to beg, that is because the society has turned its back on them. So the issue is not even them.
The society has turned its back. So the only way they can feed themselves is to go out there on the streets and beg. But I tell you, they hate that lifestyle. If there is gonna be a change, if there's going to be any form of intervention, they want to get out of the streets. They want to leave that place where they're begging for peanuts to the place where they're empowered. Because most of them are breadwinners. They have families, they have children, and they have a lot of people even depending on them as they are living with a disability. But then the society has turned its back. You would not want to give me, you don't want to employ me in your firm or your organization because I have a disability. That's what happens in Africa, in Nigeria, you know. Because the first thing you look at is not even my CV. The first thing you see is the wheelchair. And then you begin to calculate in your head, oh, how she's gonna cope, how will she cope? Will she contribute anything to my organization? What they see is liability and not an intelligent person who can cause an increase to what I do.
But do you blame them for seeing liability though?
I do. I blame them. Why would you see? That is why the shift now, our advocacy has shifted as well from disability to persons. That's why we use the terminology persons with disabilities. Just to get it registered in the mind of people that they are persons first before the disability. And because they are persons first, they have rights, you know, to life. They have right to be employed and to even employ, you know, people.
True.
They have the right to lead a normal, active and a productive life. And I always emphasize on this word, to contribute economically to their community and to their nation. So if you begin to view disability from the person perspective, the person that has the name, that has goals, that has dreams, and if supported with the right platform, can accomplish and fulfill those dreams, everything will change. The stigmatization will end.
If you are interested, we would like to invite you to introduce President Obama on Monday morning at the town hall session.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, thank you so much. My goodness! Wow! Yes! Oh my God! Oh my! Oh my! I don't even know what to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a good crowd here. First of all, can everybody please give Grace another big round of applause? You know, not only does she do incredibly inspiring work in Nigeria, but I have to say following Grace is a little bit like following Michelle. You know, she's so good that you kind of feel bad when you're walking out, because you're thinking, I'm not going to be that good. But she's just one example of the incredible talent that's in this room. And to all of you, I know that you've been here in the United States for just a few weeks, but let me say on behalf of the American people, welcome to the United States. We are thrilled to have you here.
And the impact it had on not just me, but on the community of persons with disability across the world.
Right.
Oh my goodness. It was a thing of pride for persons with disability. One of us was chosen to introduce one of the strongest, the greatest men of our time on stage. And not just a person with disability, but a woman with disability. Of course, you know, women face discrimination first as a woman, and then secondly as a woman with disability, double discrimination that we face. So, but then to have that unique moment to introduce the President of America on stage, it was unique, and persons with disabilities went viral, like, you know, they were talking about it, celebrating it. It's amazing what is on the inside of every one of you. And like you said, you mustn't wait until you can pull the moon from the sky before you can do it. With the little that you have, with the little God has blessed you with, it will go a long way. Don't look at the past. Don't look at the small. Don't look at the fact that you don't have the resources. You don't have the. I probably may not look the part. Look, forget about that and look ahead. Look at the life of that person that will be changed if only you get up and do something. That should be your focus, and it will amaze you what you will do at the end of the day.
Hello guys, this is Ola-Ojo for BSuper Experience, and I'm here to tell you about the December webisodes are dedicated to financial freedom. What better time to talk about finances other than a month before the start of the new year? As you know, when the new year comes around, everybody's talking about being financially free, making some new year resolutions around their finances, paying bills on time, saving more, less spending, all that jazz. And what happens? We never get to do it. Well, in December, I'm going to be broadcasting 2 episodes dedicated to financial freedom. I'm interviewing some very unique people that have mastered and they have cultivated the habits and tips of how to be financially free. So join us in December. As you know, it airs on our BSuper Entertainment YouTube channel. Join us, stay tuned to it, and invite your friends and family to watch the episode. Ask us questions. You can leave comments, questions, email us your questions if you have any questions. And we definitely have our financial gurus respond to those questions and offer you those tips. Again, we are all about inspiration and getting the positive entertainment out there. And the start of the new year is usually one of the crucial times to set your entire year right. And we want you to set your financial life in 2016. We want you to set it right. So stay tuned to Ola-Ojo show, the BSuper Experience, and we hope that you would have a nice new year. Happy New Year, guys. Ciao.